Number 6 Florida visiting Tennessee. With a win, the Gators can clinch the SEC East with a win, and this is the first game of the CBS doubleheader. Now, Trask, 8 straight games with 3 or more passing touchdowns. Harrison Bailey, 5-star recruit, making his first career start. Early second quarter, Harrison Bailey on the swing pass to Eric Gray, 15-yard touchdown. Tennessee takes the lead 7-3. Kyle Trask going to throw his 35th touchdown of the season because the Gators answer right back. Screen pass to Trayvon Grimes, and he fights his way in for 6. Florida takes a 10-7 lead. Trask adding to his Heisman Trophy resume, the favorite to win the award, looking to become the 4th Florida Gator to win the Heisman Trophy. Following Tennessee drive, 4th and 5. Ball's on to pump, but it's a fake. Paxton Brooks rolls out, throws to Jimmy Holiday. Got to have that. Got to have it. Drops it. So turnover on downs. Ensuing Florida drive. 3rd and 10. Trask with time, but he gets sacked for a loss of 5. Only the 9th time all year Trask has been sacked. This led to Florida missing a 53-yard field goal. Gators' first 4 possessions, field goal, punt, touchdown, missed field goal. Next Florida drive, Trask to Kyle Pitts, left sideline, 15-yard pickup. Pitts, though, contained in the first half, just 2 catches for 30 yards. 2 plays later, Trask to Kadarius Toney, 36th touchdown pass of the season for Trask, 2nd most in school history behind only Danny Warfel, who threw 39 in 1996. Vols own a 67 scoring difference in the 3rd quarter, minus 67 scoring difference, worst in the nation. Gators get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, wasting no time here moving the ball down the field. Trask, Trayvon Grimes, 8-yard touchdown, 21 straight points for the Gators, up 24-7. Looks like Grimes stole a touchdown away from Jacob Copeland on play. Either way, Trask, 9th straight game with 3 or more passing touchdowns. Longest streak in FBS within the last 5 years. Early 4th, Trask, Kyle Pitts. Just throw it in the area of the Super Swamp Brother. That's all you got to do. Super Swamp Brother connection. Pitts, 2 catches, 30 yards in the first half, 5 catches, 98 yards in the second. Finished with 7 for 128, but no touchdowns. Next play, Trask escapes the pocket. Jacob Copeland, back of the end zone. 31-7 as the Gators score 28 straight points. Kyle Trask, 35 of 49, 433 yards, 4 TDs, no picks. Under 90 seconds left in the game, Tennessee's down 18. The spread is 18. 4th and 3, J.T. Shrout completes it to Brandon Johnson. 3 plays later, Shrout to Velus Jones Jr., kicking in the back door. If you had Tennessee plus 18, you love to see it. If you had Florida minus 18, you hate to see it. So that's kind of a sad trombone. Wah, wah. Trask has the last laugh, though, because Florida doesn't really care about the spread. They just care about the post-game spread, but they don't care about covering, at least not in this one, because they get to the SEC championship, winning the SEC East. 31-19 is the final. Florida's now won 6 straight, 20 straight against unranked opponents. Kyle Trask continues to impress. 38 touchdowns, 1 behind Danny Warfel for the most in Gators history. Here's Jenny Dell with Kyle Trask postgame.
Kyle, you secured that SEC East title. What does it mean to be moving on to the SEC championship game?
It's huge. That's step 1 for all of our main goals that we had at the beginning of the season, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But now we're focused on LSU.
There's been so much Heisman talk. You're closing in on the single-season touchdown record at Florida. What does that mean to you and your legacy at Florida?
I think it just speaks volumes of this offense. How explosive we are. I look at it. As all the statistics as to just how efficient we are on offense. How many points we're able to put up. That's basically I look at that picture.
Kyle Trask, 3 or more passing touchdowns in all 9 games this season. Longest such streak by a Power 5 quarterback over the last quarter century. Again, he has 38 passing touchdowns this season. That's 1 behind Danny Warfel in 1996 for the most in Florida history. Danny Warfel won the Heisman that season. Kyle Trask on track to win the Heisman this season. And the Gators still have 1 more game in the regular season next week against LSU before the SEC championship game against Alabama. So Kyle Trask, you'd think, will probably set the record here, throw a couple touchdowns, and then get him out of the game as they get ready for Alabama in the SEC title game. All right, welcome in two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden, CBS Sports HQ college football analyst Barrett Sallee, and Chip Patterson. Before we talk Kyle Trask, I want to talk about the decision by Jeremy Pruitt here to take out Harrison Bailey and then put in J.T. Shrout. I'm confused. I think Vol fans are a little bit confused. Barrett, make sense of this for us.
Hakeem, I wish I could. I can't. I have no idea. Like, look, you put Harrison Bailey in the game to start against a rival. You do it late in the season when you're on a 5-game losing streak. That says you're preparing for the future, right? He's the quarterback of the future. He's your prize prospect from last year. He's a 5-star kid. He is going to be the starting quarterback next season. Why on earth do you pull him just to get J.T. Shrout snaps? And no, I'm not bitter just because J.T. Shrout led to a backdoor cover and I had the Gators minus the points. There's no reason for Jeremy Pruitt to do this. It's nonsensical. It's just grasping at straws. They gave Harrison Bailey the offense. He did a pretty good job. We talked about at halftime how well he was handling the pressure and how well he was managing the offense. Garbage time with an established starting quarterback, fine, I get it. But when you're putting your starter for next year out early and you don't let him finish the game and work on things, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's been the storyline for Jeremy Pruitt the entire season, doing things that does not make a lot of sense. To the fan base, to the football experts, to the media, he does a lot of things that only make sense to him. And clearly that was not the right thing to do because like you said, Barrett, starting Harrison Bailey was a future move. You wanted to see exactly what he has at the quarterback position for you going forward. And at the time when they decided to pull him, he played pretty good football. We talked about how optimistic we were with his performance in the first half leading into the second half. I think he had 121 yards or something like that. So he played pretty good football, in my opinion, for making his first start against a championship-like team, clearly a playoff caliber team. So when you remove him from the second half of that ball game, what are you saying to Harrison Bailey? What are you saying to your fan base? What are you saying to Vol Nation? What are you saying? You have to understand, this season is pretty much over and done. There's nothing you can do about this season. All you can do now is find a way to resurrect the quarterback position for you going forward. And many people believe Harrison Bailey could be the answer to that question. But guess what? You didn't allow him to fulfill this obligation in today's matchup and playing the entire ball game. If he was struggling, if the moment was too big for him, then that's one thing. But it looked like he started to get more comfortable within the game plan and he started to find his flow and rhythm within the offense. Doesn't make any sense at all.
It's always difficult because we are not there going eye to eye with Harrison Bailey. We're not there knowing how close J.T. Shrout might be, but going 12 for 14 and turning himself into Clarence Carter, AKA backdoor Santa, here in December, kicking down that back door. I kind of think that the decision and the results of the decision have proven to be that was right for that moment because maybe Harrison Bailey wasn't ready for those live bullets against one of the best teams in the country. And that's why I don't have too much criticism for Jeremy Pruitt because you could realize early on you're going up against a Heisman Trophy contender. You're going up against a college football playoff and an SEC championship contender. So maybe you do just try to grasp at straws. But I will agree that there is something about the desperation of the move that hints to where Jeremy Pruitt feels he is in terms of his job with Tennessee.
Yeah, it just doesn't look great, the optics of it. And Barrett, you said pregame that they should just let him go out there and sling it. And if he makes mistakes, he makes mistakes. But you got to see what you have. You already know what you have in J.T. Shrout. Maybe Jeremy wanted to see a little bit more from him. But why not let Harrison Bailey kind of show you something in a game against Florida and really get tested?
You know, you're exactly right. And here's the thing, too, Hakeem. We're talking about the long game here, right? We're talking about Harrison Bailey's future. Mixed into that discussion is the fact that we're in a pandemic. Cases are rising. We don't even know if the offseason is going to be a normal offseason right now. In fact, you can probably bet that in some way, shape, or form, there are going to be interruptions. So to me, it just does not make sense. You want to have your guy out there. You want to get him comfortable with the weapons he has and the weapons he will have moving forward. Look, JT Stroud, I get it, but he is not part of the long-term plan. Yeah, he was great today, but he is not part of the long-term plan. And I do think Chip is right. It speaks to desperation for Jeremy Pruitt. He's searching to try to find answers. And why? Because he's searching to try to appease and impress his bosses, including Philip Fulmer. And I don't know why you would do that. I don't know what you were trying to do other than prove that you were amendable to certain situations. But I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense, especially considering the unknown nature of the offseason.
Well, they're going to have to figure out the quarterback situation. And Emory Hunt said pregame that they haven't really had a reliable quarterback since Team Martin. So do with what you will with that. I just think that you got to figure out the quarterback situation if you're going to be Tennessee, especially when you start the season 2-0, and then you have a school record, you tie a school record with 6 straight losses. They got to clean it up. Florida's going to be in the same situation as Kyle Trask going to the NFL, and it's going to be Emory Jones or whoever else they decide to put back there next season. But let's focus right now on this season. Kyle Trask with another 4-touchdown performance, over 430 passing yards, doesn't make any mistakes, does get sacked, which maybe brings up some questions about how he's going to fare against Alabama in the SEC title game. But first, let's focus on this one. B-Mac, you saw him. It was a slow start for the Gators. What changed there at the end of the first half, then going into the second half for Kyle Trask and the Gators?
Well, that touchdown right before halftime, kind of it garnered some momentum for the Gators, similar to what we saw happen last week at home against Kentucky when Tony returned that punt for a touchdown going into halftime. That kind of sparked up the offense a little bit, and that carried over today in today's ball game. And I think also in the second half, we started to see Kyle Pitts get involved. I think going into halftime, he only had 2 receptions. When you look at what he finished with a total of 7 receptions for 128 yards. So Kyle Pitts got more involved in the offense, and that's something I hit on in the halftime show, finding a way to get his best pass catcher involved. And I think that would definitely help the offense out in totality, and it did. And when you look at Kyle Trask, his numbers, over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. It was so quiet. He did it in a very, very cool, calm way. It didn't seem like he had those type of numbers when you just watch the flow of the ball game. Everything was just so generic down the football field, taking what the defense were giving them. And I can tell you this much, when you look at their offense, they wanted to execute on the 7-cut from start to finish. That 7-cut, which is a corner route, followed by a flat route, which is a 3 concept as well. They wanted to high-low the heck out of the Tennessee Volunteers defense, and they just basically made Tennessee make them right. And Kyle Trask was unbelievable with his accuracy, hitting that 7-cut. And I can tell you this much as well. This is going to be an entertaining Heisman stretch down the line when you look at Mac Jones and Kyle Trask going at it toe-to-toe.
Yeah, Kyle Trask, in an interesting way, doesn't get the same treatment that Mac Jones does. Mac Jones puts up absurd statistics. We haven't seen Alabama quarterbacks put up numbers like this, and that includes Tua during his best seasons. But Kyle Trask all of a sudden gets this system quarterback mantra. He gets pegged as somebody who's just executing Dan Mullen style. Why don't we do that for Mac Jones? I think that we need to look at Kyle Trask as somebody who can stand on his own, and the decision making that he has in the pocket, and especially when he approaches the line of scrimmage, he identifies the matchup advantages, of which there are many, I will admit, because the pass catchers for Florida are so prolific and because they are so great in terms of being able to make plays after the catch. But these yards are not fraudulent. These yards are not something that we should put an asterisk by. Kyle Trask deserves all of the credit that comes with these statistics, and he's going to break the school record for passing touchdowns in a season in a pandemic year. If there's any asterisk that's going to be put on Kyle Trask's records that he breaks this year, it should be the fact that he has done it in the most unlikely scenario for college football. It should be something that enhances his Heisman candidacy, not hinders it.
Agreed.
I agree, Chip.
Fantastic.
No, I was going to say one thing that needs to be brought up. I think that doesn't get discussed. You mentioned this disjointed offseason. What about the fact he has no running game? Dameon Pierce had 5 yards rushing, and he's supposed to be their starting running back. That is, for Kyle Trask to do that, then to me it's wildly impressive what he's doing.
Yeah, certainly he came into the season as a long shot, and I think just a couple months ago he was plus 1,200 to win the Heisman, now the favorite to win it. It's certainly an incredible season for Kyle Trask, and on pace to become the 4th Florida Gator to ever win the Heisman Trophy, all 3 being quarterbacks, Tim Tebow, Steve Spurrier, and Danny Werfel. So this leads us to the next question here. They have LSU next week. Kyle Trask will probably break the record next week in terms of most touchdown passes in Florida history. But now the questions will come up. Can Florida hang with Alabama? Can they beat an Alabama team? Do they keep it within 10? Could they actually upset Alabama in the SEC title game? B-Mac, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. Barrett talked about the inability to run the football. I mean, you can get away with not running the football against Tennessee and South Carolina and Kentucky and teams like that. But you're talking about playing against a team that's loaded with pro-like players that will be playing on Sunday. You have to find a way to run the football. And I think that's going to really hinder their success offensively against Alabama if those teams were to meet up in Atlanta. You can't be one-dimensional and expect to have success against an Alabama-led defense, especially the defense that we have been seeing over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They're playing some of their best inspired football. It's going to be tough. And that's the luxury that Mac Jones has at his disposal. A running game at any given time. It can be Brian Robertson, it can be Najee Harris, but either guy will be able to get positive yards, especially with their offensive line doing what they've been able to do over the course of the year against any defense. And that's another concern I have with Florida as well, the defensive side. They're not playing the stout defense that we've seen in years past. So you talk about hanging with Alabama. I mean, when you say hanging with, what are you saying, 13, 14, 15 points? I don't think he will be that close, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't be surprised to see Alabama beat them by 18, 19, or 20 plus points.
In 2016, the final score was 54-16, Alabama over Florida. Reuben Foster was a linebacker in that game. Bo Scarborough was in that game. We'll see. I hope it's closer than 54-16.
Jim McElwain was also in that game.
There you go. We'll find out in 2 weeks in Atlanta.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.